This is Erin Scar. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, and we will call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. I have seen the recording has started, little message, which is wonderful. So before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. And I will just say I'm looking at my list right now and I see a number of unmuted people. So if you can please mute yourself, that is greatly appreciated. It really helps this phone call go so much better without background noise. All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll start with the Board of Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, I'm here.
Wonderful, good morning. And Commissioner Yamamoto?
Yes, good morning.
Excellent. Okay, so we will jump right into our agenda and begin this morning with Adventist Health Tillamook. Eric Swanson, are you with us this morning?
I'm with you, Commissioner. Good morning.
Wonderful, thank you.
So we have 13 patients in the hospital today. No patients admitted with a COVID positive status. No patients boarding in the emergency department. 7 surgery cases scheduled today. Our ambulance crews did 7 911 transports yesterday, 4 transfers, and no transports home, so a busy day for them. As of this is data as of the 18th regarding COVID hospitalizations. The number of hospitalized patients with COVID-19 across Oregon is 239. And just for a frame of reference, last Tuesday when we talked, we had 261 admitted. There were 33 COVID-19 patients in intensive care unit beds, and 14 are on ventilators. Yesterday we had 4,359 emergency department visits across Oregon, with 1.8% of them for COVID-like illness, and that is trending downward. Today there are 27 available adult ICU beds out of 341. That's 8% availability. 121 available adult non-ICU beds out of 1,961. That's 6% availability. And again, that's for Region 1. This is today's information. There are 191 patients boarding in the emergency departments across Oregon. That's 15 more than yesterday. And discharge delays, 420 patients, which is 6 more than yesterday. On the 20th, Dr. Peter Raven at OHSU gave us a COVID forecast, and he reports that more hospital beds are available in Oregon and fewer people are waiting in emergency rooms for beds. But many Oregon hospitals still have limited space for people who need certain types of care. Fewer people in Oregon are entering the hospital with flu, RSV, and COVID-19. The amount of COVID-19 and wastewater samples is dropping throughout the U.S. and in Oregon. And the percentage of positive COVID tests in Oregon is down a little to 8.6%. We only have 4 children in Oregon hospitals with COVID positive tests, and 5% of the people in intensive care in Oregon have COVID. The level of hospitalizations has dropped 35% since the peak on November 29th. He also reports that RSV and flu are expected to decline, while secondary flu waves are happening, and Argentina had a bit of a double surge. That's not expected in the U.S. at this point. So, unless you have questions, that's my report for you today.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you being with us. Any questions for Eric this morning? Okay, hearing none. We will go ahead and move on to our Coastal Caucus, and I know that I see Representative Gomberg with us here this morning, and I'm not seeing the phone numbers of our other representative and senator. So, Representative Gomberg, would you like to kick us off?
Well, thank you so much, Commissioners. It's good to be with you this morning. I'm just pulling over to the side of the road on my way to Salem. I wanted to join you this morning. You'll recall that last week I gave you a report that the governor's emergency declaration regarding homelessness would not be including our coastal counties, and that was of great concern, and that the Coastal Caucus had sent a letter to the governor talking about her methodology and talking about the fact that we do indeed have significant problems here that are deserving of some attention. I wanted to share with you this morning that within just a couple of days, we got a letter back from the governor, and that was followed up with a personal phone call from the governor to me, in which they indicated that at the time they put the emergency order out, they were using the best data that they had available, that they recognized that there were some problems with that methodology, and that counties or cities that wanted to opt into the emergency declaration could do so by sending an email request to the Office of Emergency Management. And that's what I wanted to share with you in particular this morning. Should Tillamook County want to take advantage of the emergency declaration and the benefits that it includes, you should be in contact with OEM and make your request.
Thank you, Representative. I have also been in touch with Taylor Smiley Wolf in the governor's office and received that information. And we are required to show an impact that includes the potential for loss of life and financial impact and so forth. So we're putting together our statistics in Tillamook County so that we can have a compelling letter to go in to add to that, be added to that emergency order. There are apparently some legal requirements that we have to quantify within our needs. So we're working on that. But we very much appreciate the Coastal Caucus leading that effort and getting it all on the governor's radar.
Excellent. Well, I knew you were on top of it. Just wanted to get that information on the record this morning and out to your listeners. So unless you have questions about that or anything else state government related, I'll go back on mute and continue on to Salem this morning.
Any questions for the representative before we let him get on his way?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Absolutely. Please do.
Thank you so much. Representative Gomberg, I just want to thank you for what you're doing, even though you no longer represent our district here in Tillamook County. You still keep us at the forefront of your mind, which we do appreciate very much. Matter of fact, I got a phone call from you. I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday when that first came out. And you were rather upset, but the rapidity with which you got a Coastal Caucus letter out, signed by all of the Coastal Caucus members about this housing plan that the governor had released, and now the response from the governor. I think that's great. So again, I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing, and please continue to join us on our calls on Tuesday morning.
Well, I'll do that when it seems particularly appropriate, Commissioner. I don't represent Tillamook County any longer, but how could I ever forget Tillamook County?
Yes,
Thank you.
I think we are kind of unforgettable.
Representative, I'd like to just chime in and thank you so much for joining us on this call. And I am grateful for your leadership of the Coastal Caucus. And in that way, you certainly do represent us, and you're off to a great start by ringing the alarm bells about this movement in Salem. And so I'm really very grateful that you're leading the Coastal Caucus and that you're joining us on this call to let us know what's going on. So thank you.
All very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Representative. I don't see the phone numbers for either Senator Weber or Representative Javity, but I'm going to give a call out just in case you're calling from an unknown number and you're with us this morning. Okay, not hearing anything. We will again thank Representative Gomber for being with us to represent the Coastal Caucus, and we will continue down our list. So, Tillamook County Community Health Centers. I know that I saw Ed Colson with us this morning. Are you ready, Ed?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, Tillamook County.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. Well, community transmission of COVID-19 does remain high due to a test positivity rate of over 10%. As of January 18th, Tillamook County had less than 10 new cases of COVID-19 and a test positivity rate of 20% measured over the past week for Tillamook County. However, community level of disease impact is low, with 1.3 new COVID-19 cases admitted to the hospital and 2.2% per 100,000 staffed inpatient beds occupied by a confirmed COVID-19 patient. So Tillamook County Public Health is going to transition away from including the weekly case reports of COVID in this community update effective mid-February. The daily and weekly data from COVID-19 updates grew out of the urgent need to communicate quickly about the evolving COVID-19 trends early in the pandemic. Now, as cases and hospitalizations have declined and the public has the information and tools to protect themselves, we are aligning resources with other public health needs. These changes, though, do not mean the pandemic is over. We will continue to monitor cases, deaths, hospitalizations, variants, vaccination and booster rates, and other developments, and keep links to current CDC data tables on our website. With this community report opportunity, now our goal is to bring awareness to health and wellness initiatives and other public health priorities such as addressing the opioid overdose crisis, childhood vaccinations, and working to improve our public health programs and policies over the 4 domains, which is chronic and communicable disease tracking, emergency preparedness, climate and environmental health adaptation planning, and culture and health equity to improve access to care for all residents of Tillamook County. And we also want to discuss a couple of events that are coming up that we'd like to let folks know about. So tomorrow, Wednesday the 25th, we will be partnering once again with CARE for their annual Houseless Connect. This event is going to be held at 904 Main Street in the old La Tida Garage from 12 to 3. We will have multiple staff present offering dental services in our dental clinic, immunizations on our mobile clinic, and harm reduction services and OHP assistance. And coming up on Saturday, February 11th, we will be hosting a children's dental and immunization clinic at our main 9th Street clinic from 10 a.m. to 2. This is going to be a walk-in clinic. No appointments are going to be needed. We'll be offering dental screenings, fluoride varnish, dental care coordination, and childhood immunizations. And we will even have the Tooth Fairy out there. That'll be presenting goodie bags and posing for photo ops. That's our community update. We'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner Spare.
Madam Chair, I can't
Got
let
me
this one
muted.
go.
You got me muted. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. Did you have a question, Commissioner Yamamoto?
I just can't let this one go. So I think I need to be there if the Tooth Fairy's going to be there. I mean, I know the Tooth Fairy always used to leave me a nickel or a dime when I was a kid for a tooth that fell out, but never ever actually saw the Tooth Fairy. So I think this is a great opportunity for everyone in the community.
There you go. Thank you, Commissioner. I agree. It will be certainly be a fun event for our kids, which is great when they're coming up for immunizations to have some fun alongside that. So, and if you were only getting a nickel for your teeth, I'm not going to say you're old, but I think inflation might have moved on up a little bit from there. So
it is because I'm so old. Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you, Commissioner. And thank you, Ed. We appreciate your update and appreciate the evolution of the update as we have moved through the different phases of this pandemic, and appreciate that you all continue to keep us informed on what's critical, but also to adjust. So thank you for that. Okay, moving on to the Halem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ed, for your updates. And I'd like to share also, we will continue to support the health department and its initiatives throughout the county. We will support them, for example, tomorrow with staff who will be at the Homeless Connect in Tillamook. And other than that, we are here to serve you. We also have a number of open positions that we will continue to recruit qualified candidates for. And there's information on our website at reinhardtclinic.org. Otherwise, if you're interested in scheduling an appointment or would like more information about our health center, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-368-5182 for more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that very much. Any questions for Gail? Okay, hearing none, we will move on into Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners. Frank Adam Williams, Director of Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Don't have much to report today. If you have questions about the agency, questions about appointments, and information that you may need, you can reach us at 503-842-8201. And if you have any questions, I can The agency provides behavioral health services for Tillamook County residents. And if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them right now.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? Okay, hearing none, we will just thank you and your agency for the services you provide. It's every meeting that I go to where we talk about social service needs, services around mental health are always in the top 3. And I just want to remind folks that in Tillamook County, we have Tillamook Family Counseling that provides those services, including our crisis response teams that respond in the community. Some of the things that we hear most often that are severely needed, we do have here through Tillamook Family Counseling. So I just very much appreciate the agency and the work that it does, and in partnership with our other medical providers related to mental health needs. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Sheriff's Office. Do we have Sheriff Brown with us this morning? Or possibly under Sheriff Kelly? Okay, I heard a couple pops like somebody might have been coming off mute, but I am not hearing any response, so we will move on to Emergency Management. Randy, are you with us today?
You bet, I'm here, Commissioner.
Wonderful. Tell us about what's going on out there.
Well, right now, I tell you, the rivers are down, the sun shines out, the king tides have gone back out to the ocean, so it's going to be a great couple of days in the neighborhood, I think, here in Tillamook County. So, but be careful when you're out there. There is going to be probably a little bit, maybe some icy, frosty on the roads in the morning, so just be careful. A little update on our declaration of a statewide emergency for the storms that we had over the holidays. Information from each of the counties on costs and damage that has happened, and I've reached out and got some great responses from a lot of the different cooperators here in the county, and so I'll be sending that off. So hopefully the state will be able to get that recommendation for a FEMA declaration off here in the next little while, and maybe we can start looking at some possible reimbursements. So just keep your fingers crossed, and let's hope that we'll be able to get that sent into FEMA, and that FEMA will see that we are deserving here, and we did suffer quite a bit of damage. I met with a few of the other emergency managers yesterday. We had a meeting with the state, and I'm surprised that Clatsop County BDSA ended up having a little over $5 million in damages. So I think the coast really got hit a lot harder than what I think the state really realized. So hopefully that'll go through, and that's about all I've got for today. Just enjoy the next few days with the sunshine, and just be careful out there.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Any questions for Randy? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bell, would you like to kick us off?
Good morning. I'd be happy to. Well, I'd like to send a shout out to the Tillamook County Roads Department. I'm the liaison to the Roads Department, and last week we had an emergency on Sand Lake Road with a massively failed culvert that compromised the road, and so it had to be closed at mile point 6.2. So folks down there who live in the area, I'm sure, are familiar with this. And so the Roads Department really jumped in with a full-time, overtime, working all hours effort and managed to get that culvert replaced and get the road back open by Sunday. So it was closed Monday. They were working over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So it was closed on Thursday, and they opened it back up yesterday. And so I just want to say thanks and kudos to the Tillamook County Roads Department. You really do an outstanding job, and I appreciate every effort that you make to keep us safe. And a couple other things I wanted to mention are the last couple weeks I've talked about the library listening sessions that are happening now as a part of the library's strategic planning effort. I went to a listening session last week, which was great. It was in the evening, and there weren't a lot of people in the room, but there were some, and I'm super grateful to the people who came. And we had very lively, interesting conversations. It's just wonderful to get a group of people together to talk about ideas. And the ideas that came out of that session, I was really excited about. So thank you to the folks who showed up for that session. And there are a couple more scheduled right now. You can go to the library's Facebook page, Tillamook County Library Facebook page, or on the website. There are 3 virtual sessions coming up, because we wondered if, it's possible that people don't want to come out in the evening and drive in the dark. So this presents opportunities for people to attend virtually from the comfort of their own homes. You can find the dates and times. There's February 9th, February 21st, March 8th, different times, morning, afternoon, and evening, in hopes of catching everybody who's interested in participating. So please check that out. If you call the library, they'll get you registered for one of those sessions and send you the link. So I hope more people will participate in that. And one thing that was encouraging about it was we were talking about how the programming the library had before the pandemic, and how robust it was, and how much the community loved it, the different things that went on at the library. And then, of course, those things, were canceled during COVID because people weren't meeting in person. And then we've had library change in leadership. And so it was really nice for our library director now, Don Algier, to hear from patrons about how much they loved those things, and to talk about what we hope to bring back, and new ideas for the future. And it was just very encouraging to me, and it kind of matches with what Ed was talking about earlier, that we're changing, we're shifting out of the COVID mode. Not that it's gone, not that it's over, but that we're no longer planning our lives around it in the ways that we have been. So I thank God for that. And I also wanted to talk about yesterday. I was at an all-day board training for the Tillamook Coast Visitors Association. I'm liaison to that organization, and it was just outstanding. So I just wanted to bring it up and say how grateful I am to people who serve on boards. We just have excellent people working in this county, working in leadership roles and working on boards. We're blessed. It's one of the things that I love the most about Tillamook County, is how much people are passionate about their community and willing to serve. It's really extraordinary in my experience from living in a couple different communities. The level at which we're willing to serve in this community is extraordinary. We have such talented people here and so much great experience that you bless us. Everyone who works on a board in Tillamook County, you bless us with your service, so thank you. And lastly, I wanted to mention something fun. On Saturday, I participated in Pi Day at the Moeller Grange, the White Clover Grange in Moeller. It was a fundraiser for the Grange itself. The Grange members put it on, and they wanted to do some work on the building. It's a 100-year-old building, and I live in North County, and there are a lot of great activities that happen at the Grange. It's really a well-used space and a gathering place and community center. And the Pi Day event was just so much fun. If you've ever been to a Pi Day event, you know what I'm talking about. It was fun. It was they raised a lot of money. I think they raised $11,600. Might have been $11,800, but it was definitely $11,000. And excuse me, it was just such a blast. I want to praise the people who did the work to put it on, and of course everyone who participated. But for us, it was fun. It's the beauty of the event is that they're spreading joy, they're building community, and they're raising money for something important to the community. And so it was, it's such a fun thing to participate in. And there was an all-you-can-eat pie feast that was just $15. People could bid on pies and buy pies. I made a pie, and my pie sold for $280, which I felt great about. And the group of people I was with, a bunch of my friends came, and I think our group altogether contributed about $750 to the Grange, and it was totally fun. It's just such a clever way to raise money, because we weren't thinking, it's like if you were to sit down and write a check for $750, you might have to think about it twice and square it with your budget. But we had a blast doing it, so it was. I thank everyone who participated. Of course, there were a lot of hard-working volunteers working on that project, and I think it was wildly successful. So thanks. I think I'll close with that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner Bell. I was sorry to miss Pie Day. I was out of town this weekend for one of Emily's volleyball tournaments, but it is a wonderful event, and happy to hear that they were so successful. Okay, Commissioner Yamamoto, you're up.
Thank you so much for the on Department of Forestry issues as chair of the Council of Forest Trust Land Counties. So much going on, and right now I can't really talk about one of the main issues that I'm working on. It's concerning to me. It really is, and it's about the harvest that we're going to anticipate off of the Tillamook State Forest, and I think we're not going to get nearly as much harvest as we have in the past for many different reasons. And this information won't be released by the department until the very 1st of February. So even though I have been briefed on it, and we are talking to Board of Forestry members as we speak. We had a meeting with Mike Wilson and Cal Mukamoto, our state forester, on Friday, and things are a little hairy right now, but more on that to come. One of the other issues, of course, with the Department of Forestry is this discussion of decoupling. And this is going to be a big issue in the upcoming legislative session. But we have groups that are now talking about decoupling timber harvest and timber revenue from state forest lands, 750-some thousand acres of state forest lands in the state. They did that with the Elliott State Forest several years ago. Basically, what the state came in, they bought out the Elliott State Forest and turned it over to Oregon State University as a teaching forest. Basically, no harvest is coming off of that. That's down in Coos County. So that opportunity for timber revenue for Coos County has been lost, and the opportunity for mills to really have a log supply is lost. So this is very troubling to us again. I was asked a question by one of the Board of Forestry members on January 4th when I testified before the Board of Forestry what I thought about decoupling. And so the answer I gave, and I knew this discussion was going on, but I really hadn't really looked at it in depth. But right off the top of my head, I said, well, this is going to cost somebody, the state of Oregon, basically, billions of dollars, because they're going to have to buy out the state forests, and they're going to have to make the counties whole. Going into this legislative session, there's $3 billion less going into this biennium than they had at the last biennium. And that's mostly because of all the federal dollars that have been coming in. And when those billions of dollars came in over the last biennium, the state spent it, and they developed new agencies. They hired a lot of people. Now they're in a new biennium, coming up on a new biennium. And now they're trying to figure out how they're going to keep these people that they hired and the new agencies, how they're going to keep them employed. And all of the agencies and departments in the state, they all have rather big asks into the legislature for this upcoming long legislative session. So the first thing I told the Board of Forestry member was, well, first of all, I don't think the state's going to have the money to even consider decoupling. But even bigger than that, that doesn't happen when a decoupling conversation comes up like it is right now. What happens to all the family wage, fully benefited jobs that happen in a community? And there's no answer to that either. So this decoupling conversation, I hope it doesn't go anywhere this legislative session, and I don't think it will. But this is the first volley that we're going to hear about this discussion of decoupling coming up. So it's something that we need to pay close attention to. I also want to get into endangered species. So I think you've heard me talk before of the Coho lawsuit. There were a group of environmental groups that sued the Department of Forestry over the Tillamook and the Clatsop State Forests, stating that forestry was allowing a take of wild coho. So Tillamook County and OFIC, Oregon Forest Products Industry, both intervened in this case, and we were doing pretty well. The state decided, this was 2 or 3 months ago, the state decided they wanted to try to settle the case. Department of Justice didn't think that they could win the case. If you talk to our attorneys, if you talk to OFIC's attorneys, both groups of those attorneys will tell you, no, we have a great opportunity to win this case. But the state has been moving forward with a possible settlement, and I think it's getting very close to a settlement. We are objecting, but just as interveners, we don't have a lot of say in this. So that's very troubling. At the same time, there is now conversation at U.S. Fish and Wildlife to list the Chinook salmons. And so we're trying to figure out what runs of Chinook they're talking about. They're trying to list the Chinook now as an endangered species also. So that just makes things even more troublesome moving forward. So I'll get off of the Department of Forestry. Legislative session has started, and currently over 4,100 bills are being proposed, written up as we speak, and presented to see how far they can get with those 4,100 bills. There are forestry bills, there are dairy bills, agricultural bills, there are fishing bills. These are all things we're going to have to pay very close attention to and make sure that our voice is heard in Salem over these next few months. This is going to be a very difficult session coming up. One other thing I'd like to discuss, we have a Tillamook Lightwave meeting coming up this morning, starting at 9:30. And I just want to let you know some of the conversations that I'm going to have at Tillamook Lightwave. So people have been calling me and asking me, so Dave, you've been talking about fiber to the home, high-speed internet for Tillamook County. I've been talking about this for a couple 3 years, and we're not seeing any progress on this. Well, we do have actually quite a bit of progress. That Amazon fiber coming across the Pacific, Trans-Pacific Cable, and here we have to thank Astound, Tillamook Lightwave's contractor, for a lot of the work that they've done, a lot of the conversations that they've had with Amazon as this cable comes in. And so they have worked a deal with Amazon where as that fiber cable traverses Tillamook County, goes over Highway 6, they're going to allow us off-ramps so that we can hook up people in underserved and unserved areas along the cable route, which is terrific. We appreciate that so much. At the same time, we all realize that Highway 6 is one of the most dangerous stretches of road in the state of Oregon. Lots of accidents. There's a 35-mile stretch in there where there's no cell phone service. So the many accidents that happen up there, someone has to drive one way or the other to get cell service to notify emergency services that there's been an accident and ambulances are needed, whatever. Again, Astound has been talking with Amazon, explaining the problem. I've had several conversations with Amazon myself, And so we are looking at getting 6 to 8 cell phone towers. This is actually in the works. 6 to 8 cell phone towers over the length of Highway 6. It's going to provide terrific coverage up there. So those safety issues up Highway 6 are going to be partially resolved by all of the work that's being done by Astound, by Tillamook Lightwave, and by Amazon. And we really do appreciate that so much. So everyone needs to understand that when it comes to infrastructure projects like this, these take time. And you know what? We talk about the millions of dollars, the hundreds of millions of dollars coming to Oregon to help communities like ours make sure that we have access to high-speed internet. Well, that money hasn't even hit yet. So the money is still coming, although we're getting pretty close to that money hitting the state of Oregon. And I think it's incumbent upon us to try to make sure that we get our fair share. And I just want to mention to you also, and I've talked about this probably ad nauseum, but in the omnibus appropriations bill that was developed and passed by Congress in December and just recently passed by the president, Tillamook County received $3 million to help us move forward on our high-speed internet project, middle mile projects in Tillamook County. So just wanted to let everyone know things have been really busy. Hang on, I will report to you what we're finding out from the Department of Forestry in the next few weeks. But with that, Commissioner Scar, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Commissioner Yamamoto. Appreciate the updates. Okay, I will move on to my updates. Just a few things that have been going on. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to drive down to Salem and meet with a group of folks who are the Oregon Coast Trail Landowners Representative Group. And this is a group that is looking at the gaps that exist on the Oregon Coast Trail. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Oregon Coast Trail runs from border to border in our state, the majority of it on the beaches. There are a number of spaces where you cannot continue on the beach due to the openings of bays or the abutments of the steep coastline, and then those spaces you have to walk inland. And many of those spaces, the answer for walking inland has been on Highway 101. And this group has been meeting in response to a legislative action that was taken back in, I believe it was 2017, to look for better solutions than that. And so the work has been ongoing. The pandemic slowed it down a bit, but there were segment teams that met in each region of the state and looked at possible solutions and submitted those to Parametrics, which is a trail company. This is what they do. Their expertise is in siting, designing trails. And so they took a look at what the community said, hey, here's what we think. They've put that into an action plan. That action plan is currently being finalized and will be submitted to the legislature in September as a requirement of this bill from 2017. The Oregon Coast Landowners Group includes parks, it includes counties, it includes anyone who is part of the ownership body on the coast and or those who are critical in potentially closing these gaps, such as ODOT. And this meeting was to determine if this group was willing and committed to move forward with this action plan, assuming, of course, that resources can be raised. So there are two bills that are currently in the legislature in this session that have been sponsored by Senator David Brock Smith, and he has a partner in the House, and I apologize, I forget who his partner in the House is. That is, by Representative Wright. So these two bills would take $1 million of what has already been allocated for trails that comes through ODOT, and it would earmark it for the Oregon Coast Trail specifically as an effort to kickstart really doing some of the work to close the gaps on the Oregon Coast Trail. So as a landowner and a local elected official, I was invited to participate and asked really to say, is Tillamook County interested in this happening? And I would happy to say that yes, we are. This is a trail that brings tourism to our communities. It brings the kind of tourism that we've talked about at length, which is people who enjoy our natural coast. So we are looking to be a partner in this and hope that as funding is available, we will be able to take advantage of that to help close some of the gaps. We have some significant ones in Tillamook County due to the many openings of our bays. That we need to find ways to help people get across that or to walk around the bay itself. So sizable challenges, but ones I think we're up for. So excited about that. It was a really good meeting. We will meet again in a couple of months with everyone having gone back to say, get their leadership involved and on board. And I will be talking with the other commissioners to assure that we have 100% agreement, and then we will start the work. So lots of good stuff happening with that. I also had the opportunity, I sit on the board of the Columbia Pacific CCO, which is in essence the management body of the Oregon Health Plan for the region, which is Tillamook, Columbia, Clatsop counties. And part of the Oregon Health Plan work that has happened is that the Columbia Pacific CCO gets a flat amount per member per month that they spend on healthcare for their members. And in the event that they are able to provide that health care for less than the money they receive, they invest that money back into the community. They don't get to keep it. It's not a for-profit endeavor where they are allowed to keep that money. They are, in fact, a nonprofit governing body. So that money gets reinvested into the community. And I'm pleased to share that through their large grants program, they are investing in the Helping Hands shelter at the port. Some of you may be familiar with that. It's a reentry program, and they purchased a building at the port. I'm going to guess it's been 6-7 years ago, and I may be wrong on that. It may be longer. Time's a little distorted with COVID. But they have an emergency shelter on the bottom floor, a clean and sober emergency shelter. They have been working diligently to remodel the second floor for their longer-term reentry program, which would have what would be considered single room occupancies, which essentially is a studio style apartment that would allow folks who want to be in their longer term program to have their own space, which would ultimately free up some of that emergency shelter space because it is currently being used by long-term participants. So I'm pleased that CPCCO made a decision to fund that large grant, which will again help to finish that second floor. I don't have a timeline on that, but it's good for our community. Any space that we have for housing for those who are coming from the experience of homelessness, it really helps us all. I had the opportunity to attend the Narcan training here at the county last week. It was an exceptional hour of my life, well spent, to learn more about the crisis in our communities relating to opioid use, understanding at this point just the danger of what is on our streets. One of the main messages was anything that is purchased on the street should be assumed to contain fentanyl, and fentanyl is an extremely deadly drug. In small doses, what it does to someone is that it encourages that need for more. That is why they're lacing the drugs with it, because the drug dealers are trying to ensure that getting off of any drugs is going to be even harder. Unfortunately, for many people, what happens when they use is that it kills them. They don't have the ability in their body to process the fentanyl, and it's deadly on your first try. And this is really impactful when we think about our children, when we think about our high school students, when we think about the time of your life when you are trying these things. I would say that probably for many of us growing up, I'm in my mid-50s, many of us growing up probably took speed or something along the way because it was high school when we were trying things. And now the dangerous piece is that trying things can be deadly on the first go. So having Narcan or naloxone, which is the medical name for Narcan, which is like the difference between tissues and Kleenex, it's all the same, it's what we call it. Having that available in our communities in many, many places is extremely important. We will be adding a couple of what they call lock boxes here at the courthouse, which will provide that. It'll be like where you have an AED. There will also be Narcan available, and we're encouraging everyone to learn how to use it. It is not hard to use. We think about many of us in our lives have taken first aid and CPR in order to be prepared for emergencies in our community. And I would suggest that taking the training for the Narcan administration is akin to that, but even simpler. It took an hour of my time, and it wouldn't even have taken that much time, except that we talked quite a bit about opioid use and just dug a little deeper into that as part of it, which you don't have to do to know. You can actually learn how to use it in just a few minutes. I would encourage anyone who has not done that to visit the Our Tillamook website. Our Tillamook is an opioid use response website. It has good information for the community. I was poking around this morning. There are actually videos on how to use the Narcan so that you can see what that would look like. And I just really encourage everyone to take the time to learn and be prepared to help in our communities, because it is everywhere and it is dangerous. Off my soapbox on that one. One last thing I want to mention is that we have a hearing on Monday morning, the 30th at 9 a.m. related to the accessory dwelling unit ordinance that the commissioners are considering. We often think about accessory dwelling units as maybe that mother-in-law unit that you're able to put on your property next to your primary home. This is an accessory dwelling unit ordinance for unincorporated Tillamook County. Again, 9 a.m. If you are interested in reading that ordinance prior to the hearing and providing public comment, we invite you to do that. You have the entire week to send us written public comments. You can also be present at the hearing. There will be public comments taken. That information is all available linked through the calendar on the county's main webpage. So if you go to the county's webpage, go to the calendar on January 30th, you will see that there is a hearing at 9 a.m. Click on that link. It will take you to both the meeting link if you want to listen in. It will also give you the packet that we have received, which includes the ordinance language. So I just want folks to know this is happening. This ordinance has already been through the local community. Each of the unincorporated communities has a CAC, which is our land use advisory from unincorporated communities. It has been through all of the CACs. They have seen the language. It has also been to the Planning Commission, where it was recommended for approval. So this ordinance has already been seen by many people. We have had very, very positive feedback on it. So we are looking for feedback from anyone who has not seen it yet through those committees. And with that, I will thank you for giving me the time this morning, and we will move on to our cities. So Manzanita, Leila Aman, I know I saw you with us this morning.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Good morning, we can, thank you.
Excellent, first time. Well, good morning, Yay! Yes, I'm on the phone this time, so I went analog. Well, thank you for the time. Why don't I start with the regional update? So we had one of our police officers, Mike Sims, participated in a public safety committee subcommittee for the House Bill 4123 homeless response pilot. And we're also looking forward as a city to participate. And I know for having a police division that there's a lot of overlap between what many of our officers have to address daily and the work of this committee. So I'm excited to see that there's some focus there, and we're excited to participate with the county and our county partners on that, because it's going to take a regional approach to this. So again, thanks for the county for the support for that, for creating the table for us to start to move forward, and for securing the money to get us there. So that's great. Another thing that we're working on in partnership right now with the Tillamook County Visitors Association is the City of Manzanita will be having a series of destination management workshops. So TCVA, under the good guidance of Nan Devlin, will be doing a destination management plan for the City of Manzanita. So those will be occurring, I think, starting later this month or early next. So please keep an eye on the city's website for time and date for those events. And if you're interested in getting an email, I'll be shooting out an email to the city's listserv. So do sign up for the city's listserv. And just as a reminder, you go to our city webpage and you scroll to the top, and there's a little space there for you to enter in your email address. So I hope you'll do that, and look forward to seeing folks at that event to get some feedback on that. And what that will help us do is find ways to use the sort of restricted funds from the transient lodging tax for destination management activities. And so So yeah, we're looking forward to working with the public on that. I did want to make some notes of some important city council meeting changes as we've moved into a new council. The council is going to be moving their workshops. They currently occur at 3 o'clock on the day of the city council meeting. They're going to be moving those to a week out. So we'll be separating out the work session from the regular session. Regular session council meetings will remain the same. So those will happen the first Wednesday after the first Monday of every month. And then the work session, and those will still be at 6 p.m. The work sessions will be the following Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Till 4 p.m. So please do keep your eye on the city's calendar for meetings. We've had a few shifts in timing of trainings and so forth. So that's the most current place to get information. And we also try to push information out to our listserv, but we don't want to overwhelm folks. So if you are interested, please do check the city's website. I'm going to jump from this call to a city council meeting at 9 a.m. today. And then the budget committee will be having at 10 o'clock today. So fun morning for us here. And just as a reminder, the next city council meeting is February 8th. That's our regular session at 6 p.m. February 15th, we'll be holding a work session. Public Works is still looking for a part-time person. So if you're interested in working for the good city of Manzanita, please do visit our website and there are application material online. And with that, I'll thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Lila. We appreciate that. Okay, moving on. I do not see Nahalem with us today based on the phone numbers that I have. I also did not see Wheeler based on the phone numbers I have. So if either of you are here, please quickly jump off mute and let me know. Otherwise, we'll keep trucking. Okay, Rockaway Beach. I believe that Mayor Charles McNeely is with us this morning. Mayor. Are you able to unmute Mayor McNeely? I can see you unmuted. There you are.
I think I finally got unmuted. I was cell phones. You know, technology does what it wants to do. Anyway,
yes,
thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update for Rockaway Beach. We've had a wayfinding plan that is coming to fruition. Its signage is being installed as I speak. We're getting over $250,000 in signage, including new gateway signs and kiosks and directionals. Our Big Tree Boardwalk is getting interpretive signage, and this was paid for by a grant from Tillamook County. So just like to say on behalf of our residents and our merchants and our tourists, a big thank you to Tillamook County for making this possible for us. And with that, I'll pass it back to Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate you being with us. Okay, moving on to Garibaldi. Mayor Tim Hall, I believe I saw your phone number on here.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Garibaldi has nothing to report this week. However, we do have some plans for the three cities, Rockaway Beach, Garibaldi, and Bay City, having the first meeting to discuss the formation of a fire district. So that's on the horizon, and we're excited to see that that's going to be happening. That's all that I have today.
Thank you, Mayor. That is very exciting. I think that as we look around Tillamook County, we have many special districts, and as staffing and money and volunteers become tighter, I love the idea of looking at if there is efficiency. So that is wonderful to hear. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to Bay City, Mayor David McCall.
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. I don't have an update for you this week. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to Tillamook, City Manager Nathan George.
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, we can.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, I do have several updates. In the police department, I want to first mention our Tillamook Police Department Police Chief, Chief Rao, reached out and has now scheduled a public safety supervisor's regular monthly meeting with the Tillamook Sheriff, Tillamook District Attorney, the Oregon State Police Lieutenant that oversees our county, the Manzanita Police Chief, and Chief Rao. This is a very important meeting they'll hold monthly to help coordinate efforts and further teamwork in law enforcement for our community and county. The city greatly appreciates all our local and state law enforcement agencies' participation. On Friday, January 20th, several members of the Tillamook Police Department were able to attend the graduation ceremony for Officer Zach Neubauer, who's now back home and finishing his field training evaluation program. We're very excited to have him out of the academy and back on the roads and soon completely on his own. We are currently taking applications for a police officer. We have an upcoming and well-deserved retirement for Officer Hanratty. The Tillamook Police, not the Police Department, but the Public Works Department, Cody Dalton, was at a residence to turn off the services to a house due to non-payment recently. He went to the front door and found the door hangers from the TPUD about terminating their services. He knocked on the door to find an older woman who was crying and appeared in distress. Cody determined not to cut off the water and called dispatch for a welfare check on the woman. Officers arrived to find the 58-year-old woman who was crying because her power had been turned off that morning. She told how the other person who lives with her had her credit card and was to pay the bills, and this woman does not have a phone, was unable to contact the TPUD nor pay because her roommate had her credit card. So our police department was able to locate a number for a roommate and the power was restored. If it wasn't for Cody Dalton and our Public Works Department's due diligence and having someone check on the status of this woman, it could have ended in a different ending. So we wanted to share this as a perfect example of our employees of the city go above and beyond to help take care of our residents in every way we possibly can. In the public, we really appreciate his hard work in that area. In Public Works, this week, the city's water distribution team is performing routine maintenance and inspection on meters in the distribution system. They're also in the process of assessing and preparing a leak repair for the water main on the south of town. Our water treatment division is focused on the calibration and optimization of the recently upgraded Culligan system. The building maintenance division is performing some rerouting of information technology infrastructure at the Public Works garage, as well as assisting potholes and road repairs around town. They have also recently done some storm collection work on reestablishing some ditch lines that become overgrown with vegetation. They will be conducting the annual state-required asphalt assessment this week. This report is required for the Streets Division of Public Works to receive funding. They are working with our new project manager, an engineer, and the Department of State Lands to address the required maintenance reporting with the Sue H. Ellimore Park, boat ramp, and parking lot. As most of you have probably seen, that is roped off. We have an issue with the whole park sliding into the slough there, so we're working on figuring out what we can do and get that addressed. The wastewater division is continuing to move forward with assessment and replacement of the damaged lift station at the end of Meadow Avenue. The temporary measures have been put in place until this work can be completed to ensure public safety and health. This was damaged in the power outage we had several weeks ago. The sewer division employees are currently exploring different solids handling equipment to meet the required standards for hauling and disposing of sludge from the wastewater treatment plant. Crew also has responded to a leak on North Main Avenue, which is Highway 101, on the pressure sewer system. They were able to complete a successful repair over the weekend to ensure uninterrupted service to surrounding businesses and homes in the area. Failure to complete this repair in a timely manner would have resulted in disruption of service, negatively impacting the homes and businesses. Sewer Division is also addressing a failed check valve at the Front Street lift station. For those of you who don't know, pretty much all the businesses along North 101 Main Avenue, which is Highway 101, from roughly Rosenberg's all the way to Fred Meyer, is all on a pressure system sewer. So they have almost each business has a pressure main that pushes the sewer up to the wastewater treatment plant. So it takes a lot of maintenance. It's not just our city responsible, it's also the business owners. Our city planner, Tommy O'Donnell, and I, the city manager, met with our Tillamook County Community Development Director, Sarah Absher, and the county's building inspector. The City Planning Department and Community Development Department have a great working relationship for which we were well pleased. We met to discuss ways we could further coordinate and collaborate. One of the areas we identified is working on ways to store information and streamline processes for our residents and customers using technologies such as electronic plans and submittal. So we'll continue to work on this project as we identify areas that we think we can help make things easier for our residents and for ourselves. The Economic Development Council met yesterday to discuss various upcoming projects and programs. I'm on that board as well as others. I know Commissioner Bell is, and many others in the county. I am pleased to announce that the Ford Family Foundation reached out to me earlier in 2022 wanting to partner with the city to provide funding for a position or person to help with entrepreneurs in our community. I have been working with the EDC and Small Business Center to help facilitate the position funding. I only helped in the beginning, but the EDC and the Small Business Center have put a lot of work in this project, which will be a significant benefit to our community and to our county. The city continues to have problems with residents not paying their water and or wastewater bills in a timely manner. The city is working on providing additional information on the next month's billing to help further educate our customers on the deadlines and procedures. So the wording will be something along the lines of, to help avoid hassle and ease on your payment process, the city is sharing the billing dates. To avoid a late fee, please pay your bill by February 13th. On February 14th, customers who are past due on their utility payment must have payments in by noon when they receive a door hanger. Once the door hangers go out, the balance must be paid in full and no payment arrangements are allowed. On February 15th, your water will be shut off if payment isn't made by 12 noon, and a $25 reconnect fee will be assessed. So we ask residents to please contact the City Utilities Division of the Finance Department with questions or concerns. We're trying to get the information out there, really trying to help people avoid having to have their water turned off. The city has 2 full-time positions open in the Finance Department. One is for a utilities clerk, one is for an accounting clerk. The city is also still accepting applications for the city recorder. Please check the city's website for job postings or call the city's Human Resource Department. You may also stop by City Hall to pick up an application or get further information. City still has a vacancy on the city's budget committee. If you're interested or know someone who's interested, please call the city or visit our website. The city also has 2 at-large member vacancies for the Tillamook Urban Renewal's Planning and Justification Committee and the Contract Committee. So not the actual board itself, but for the 2 different committees that they have. If you're interested in serving or either of these committees and know someone, please have them call the city and talk to our planning department or visit our website. And finally, the next regular meeting for council will be held on Monday, February 6th, 7 p.m. We encourage anyone and everyone that would like to attend to either be there in person or attend online. Those desiring to attend online can find the information on the city's website or call the city for assistance. As most people probably know, Oregon passed a law recently that we must provide electronic access to our meetings, so we're excited to be able to provide that, and hope anyone who wants to attend would like to go contact us. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate the update. I'm going to circle back really quickly because I do see that Under Sheriff Matt Kelly is with us. I don't know if he has a report for the Sheriff's Department. Under Sheriff, do you have something for us?
Morning, Commissioners. Not a whole lot. I just want to reinforce what Randy said. It is a little slick out there. It's not too bad this morning, but it does, watching the weather, it looks like there'll be some stuff coming in this winter or this weekend that we should start preparing for. I did want to talk about the community conversations that will happen at TBC tonight. The Sheriff's Office is glad to be a part of it. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. at Tillamook Bay Community College, just to talk about community safety. Look forward to seeing everybody there, and that's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Under Sheriff. I appreciate that very much. Okay, then we will go to our last and final, which would be Doug Olson. I know I saw him on here earlier. I'm not seeing him now, but he may have switched to a telephone. So, Doug, are you with us?
Lightwave.
I do know he's probably traveling up for the Lightwave meeting. So, all right, with that, then we will wrap up. We will thank KTIL for broadcasting, everyone for attending, and hope that everyone has a wonderful day. We are adjourning this meeting at 9:04. Thank you.